Hello, fellow Helldivers, Thornton here, and today we are going to be talking about, well, the brand new MO. Are we getting a major update today? Because there's some theories revolving around that. And also, what is going to be the future of Helldivers 2? We're going to go over all of that, but without further ado, let's jump into today's topic. So, fellow Helldivers, we've got a pretty interesting week and possibly something really big coming in today. First, we're going to be talking about, well, a brand new major order that impacts the DSS. One is going to be where we get an exosuit support bay that would reduce the cooldown of all exosuit stratagems by 35%. We got to go ahead and take out automaton factories. The other option, though, is an expanded convection bay that would reduce the cooldown of Eagle Rearm by 15%. Its construction would require liberating Trandor from the Terminid. So we're going to have to pick between whether or not we want to fight bugs or bots to go ahead and do this. The way that it will work, and this was drawn up by a Redditor, for the Patriot exosuit with a 35% cooldown would make the total for 6 minutes and 9.2 seconds for that to come back, which is actually a pretty big buff for the exosuit if you are one of those users that use it. For the Eagle cooldown, it's very much more minimal, with 15% for only bringing it down to 1 minute and 26.7 seconds, which is pretty good as well. That being said, a lot more people bring Eagle runs. However, the exosuit might become much more viable with this cooldown. So I'll be interested to see how the community goes ahead and makes this major order their priority. That being said, there is a theory on something big coming today for April 8th. You might have seen this. It's been making its rounds on Reddit. I'll go ahead and break it down on why the user thinks there is a big update coming today. He says, why April 8th? Good thing you asked. Besides being the day we normally get updates, April 8th is also the day the board game releases, and the Game Awards is happening with Helldivers 2 being nominated for 5 Game Awards, which is actually pretty relevant. What else is there to sustain your argument? Arrowhead has a pattern when it comes to updates and Warbond releases. For updates, it is on Tuesday and Warbonds on Thursdays, and there is also a pattern for when they release things. For example, Helldivers 2 was released on February 8th on the second week of the month. Escalation Freedom was released August 6th on the second week of the month. Omens of Tyranny released December 12th on the second week of the month, and when is April 8th on the second week of the month. Now, that isn't confirmed, although I will say that he makes some good points, with the Game Awards being the last time they actually introduced the Omens of Tyranny update, which brought in the Illuminate. It's also important to know that there was the Escalation of Freedom that also dropped. That was the first major update to the game, and then shortly after that was Omens of Tyranny. And due to stuff found in the game files, we know that they had 3 planned seasons, and these updates are basically their versions of seasons. And it's been about 4 months since we got the last one, which lines up with the timeline of a major update. And I'll go ahead and actually break down right now on how it actually works with the seasonal content. We've gone over it before, but it actually does also lead some credence to what the user said and why he thinks an update is coming today. Iron Sights, one of the most notable data miners out there, went ahead and let us know that there were certain seasons, in fact, one called Seasons of Liberty, and it had different armors and progression systems, as you can see here, which is quite different from the traditional Warbond system we had. In fact, there was a post that showed up some images where you could buy some weapons specifically with super credits. There were super sales, there were different armor rarities and recolors. Now, in a weird way, this has actually come true to the game. In case you guys haven't noticed, we do get certain weapons actually in the superstore, such as the batons, and then also, interestingly enough, we also had the Warzone collaboration, which did have specific weapons that were available for purchase that were tied to Killzone. And also, you should have gotten the second page for free if you just logged in. It was something that they said they were going to go ahead and do for the community after receiving a bit of backlash. That being said, Ironsights gave us some pretty interesting information, such as that season 1 was called the Trial War, and that there was up to 3 seasons worth of content that was stored in the game files. Now, you might think that, oh, seasons just became war bonds, but what is most likely is the fact that seasons actually turn into these big updates, such as the Escalation of Freedom and the more recent one, Omen of Tyranny, meaning that we have seen 2 seasons, and well, where's the other one? A season, which if we look at any other live service game, let's take Apex Legends for example, lasts around 3 months or so. Now, what most likely happened is that the updates, these big new seasons, actually got turned into things like the Escalation of Freedom, which we got back in August. Now, there was the release date of the game back in February, and then we got our first season with Escalation of Freedom in August. But then in December, we got the Omens of Tyranny, obviously, as we had just mentioned, which means that it should be about every 3 to 4 months is a new season, which fits the cycle of other live service games, which means that there's going to be another huge update that is going to add even more brand new types of content. And they even have the UI in there. A lot of the stuff for the seasons are still found in the files. It's like they are holding onto it for something Ironsight says. But overall, he's happy they didn't go with the seasons pass. And I gotta be honest, I kind of agree. I think the war bonds are a pretty interesting idea. But with that idea of each season bringing in something new, and with 2 more additional past that, it makes us wonder what we could see for future enemies after the Illuminate. Well, interestingly enough, Ironsights does let us know that there are rebels actually found in the files. So it wouldn't surprise me if at some point in the future, this this game, we do get a Rebel faction brought in. It could be a weather event or it could be a seasonal event that we get in, and a fourth faction could be the Rebels. There was also some talk that players are speculating that they hope to see something like symbiotes. Overall, there's still a lot of the galaxy map, but it's cool to know that they have at least 9 months worth of content that they have been working on, and that they moved from the seasonal pass to the war bond for cosmetics, but the content as in terms of gameplay mechanics are still planned with a set release date. Along with the new seasons, it does also appear that is going to be a form of ship customization coming into the game. Ironsides actually said there are multiple ship customization options. Right now, it's probably only a dev thing, but it makes sense that eventually we'll be seeing it, especially with clans coming into the game. There's also some talk about armor customization, which may be a feature in the future, but as of right now, there was nothing talked about it well in the files. That being said, one of the game devs, Johan Pilstead, did say they are looking into it in regards to weapon armor customization, so that feature also looks like it's probably going to be in one of those seasonal updates or something very big in the future. You can actually go ahead though and see right here that there is a ship customization texture, which allows for the concept of new stuff to come in, especially when that clan stuff drops, because it's been pretty much confirmed right now that there will be a station in orbit around your current planet where you'll be able to actually use certain stratagems, like a nuke that will be coming in the future that will use clan stratagems. There wasn't too much more info Ironsides could share about it, but it is pretty interesting. It has probably something to do with the tactical nuclear warhead, although at this point it could be scrapped. It was a stratagem that originally was designed to use super credits on. You spend credits and you launch a nuke. That's pretty interesting. We haven't seen a whole lot of pay to win stuff in this game, but it is PvE, so it isn't out of the realm of possibility. Luckily, there's no PvP component where pay to win would be very bad. Now, there's also some other interesting stuff with clans coming in, such as there seems to be a function for arm wrestling. This is going to be a little mini game. It's not too complicated. You just spam your button and you try to outdo the stamina on your opponent. I don't think it's going to be an absolute game changer for this game, but I do like the fact that Arrowhead is experimenting with little fun ways to just make the galaxy and the universe feel more alive and more of a sense of camaraderie with your teammates and more. Now, there is also some other interesting stuff that was talked about. As you can see from this image right here, there are a bunch of armor sets and they have purple, blue, and gold/orange around them, and then one that doesn't have any. This is because apparently armor rarities are very much a thing that we could be seeing coming into the game in the near future. It is interesting as you can find super credits in game, so it's not the most pay to get the items thing ever. You could just grind it out, which is a system a lot of other games do. So overall, there's a lot to break down and digest with that, but now we're going to go ahead and hop into the community clips. Remember to hit me up on Thorn and Smash on Twitter to go ahead and submit some of your guys' own clips, and I'll go ahead and include them in the video. But without further ado, let's roll it.
Countdown initiated. Stand by for takeoff. This is Pelican 1, preparing for touchdown.
Objective located.
Requesting air support. Extraction complete. Pelican 1 beginning ascent.
Another victory for the right side of history.
Let me know down below, what are your guys' thoughts for what we could be expecting in today's update, if there is going to be one, and how do you feel about the current MO? Also, don't forget to check out this video right here where I cover more news on Helldivers 2 on the daily, and until next time, everyone, thanks for stopping by. Keep spreading managed democracy.